Alex Jones has some thoughts for us about what the transgender rights movement is really about. This is fun.
Really important. And I know the last few days I said I would get to what the whole trans movement's about. And why if you say tranny, Facebook, Twitter, you name it, says they will ban you. I mean, we've had executives from Facebook and Twitter call here, and it's official executives, and say, we don't want to ban you, but you can't use that word above all other words. And I'm going to explain it, what's behind it. It's not the people, that men that want to be women or women that want to be men. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with something bigger. The most protected class are going to be augmented humans, cyborgs, you name it. And you're going to have humanoids, which, again, isn't a man and a woman with the chromosomes splicing together. They're already announcing the first baby with 3 parents to be born this year. They've been doing it for decades, but it's not a human. It's something different when you got 3 parents. And you say, oh, we just changed some of these genes over here. It changes the whole deal. Especially you start mixing 2 women. That's a whole nother subject, because women have double the genetic code and then some. And then 1 extra chromosome, but also the mitochondrial DNA that the men don't even have. And so they're creating new life forms. And they're just creating a stampede where you don't criticize that.
That's a classic Alex Jones theory, in that it is utterly made up. So he's saying, well, the reason for the trans rights movement is actually not trans rights. So all the people that are involved in that movement, they're not really fighting for what they think they're fighting for. What they're really doing is laying the groundwork for what's coming next, which is the movement for the rights of augmented cyborgs and humanoids. I don't know why you can't just take people at their word. Why wouldn't you just take them at their word when they say, no, I'm somebody who's trans, and, for example, I'm fighting to make it so that I can't get fired solely because I'm trans. For those of you who don't know, there are over 20 states in America where you can get fired just for being gay. Never mind trans. You can also be fired for being trans. So, you have some trans people who are like, hey, let's fight back against that and get some anti-discrimination protections. There are some really, really heartbreaking statistics about trans people, like the rate of violence against them is pretty high, and there's also a lot in terms of suicide. There are many people who are trans who are suicide. Now, you could say, hey, well, that might not be tied to how society treats trans people. It might be something going on the individual level with trans people. That's a fine argument to make, and that's a debatable claim. But the idea that people who are fighting on trans issues, that they're all useful idiots because there's a broader plan where the Illuminati is trying to make you digest trans rights, because then next comes augmented cyborgs and humanoids. So they want to train you to be passive as all these changes happen in society, but not just with individuals' identities, but also with what's coming next, which is, augmented cyborgs and humanoids. Alex, just stop. Please stop making shit up, because that's just made up. That's made up. And by the way, I have news for everybody. You're going to have a vibrant debate when we get to augmented cyborgs and humanoids. There's going to be a giant, vibrant debate, because that's not an obvious issue. It's not like, oh, let's fucking tweak the DNA of people or put a microchip in your brain to be able to control you, or let's do some sort of a mix, if we get the science to be able to do it, a mix between a human and, I don't know, a fucking chimp or something. That's not... Those issues are inherently hot issues. That's not the right word for it. They're controversial. Those issues are inherently controversial. So it doesn't matter. Even if there was some overarching force that's trying to, or secret society that's trying to lay the groundwork to get us to just passively accept that, that's not going to happen. Even if I accept your framework, which I don't, that's not going to happen. Of like, oh, now everybody passively is going to accept augmented cyborgs and humanoids. No, we're going to be like, what the fuck is going on, son? Everybody's saying, what the fuck is going on? Just when we're recently now getting into the virtual reality porn era. Like, that's just starting, and people are like, whoa, what the fuck? And that you're just talking about people busting a nut with the fucking new kind of porn, and people are like, what's happening here? So obviously that shit is going to be controversial. I don't, just stop making shit up, man. He just always makes shit up, and it's so fucking tedious and frustrating because he's thought out so many angles to how he makes shit up that he can overwhelm somebody who's not versed in this stuff, and they think, well, I guess Alex is right. Whatever. His grand theory is that the LGBTQ rights movement is really about augmented cyborgs and humanoids. No, I believe in Occam's razor. The simplest explanation is the best explanation. And the simplest explanation is the LGBTQ movement is about LGBTQ people. That's what it's about. And by the way, you can agree with them on many things. I do. Gay marriage, 100%. Anti-discrimination protections, 100%. But you could disagree with them on some things. Like some of those activists say, hey, we should have over 60 fucking genders. I don't agree with that. I don't think that's real. So you can have agreements and disagreements with the LGBTQ movement, but Alex, at the end of the day, the LGBTQ movement is about the LGBTQ people. It's not some sort of nefarious precursor to augmented cyborgs and humanoids.